Proposed amendments seek to bolster a St. Johns County ordinance which prohibits registered sex offenders from being within 300 feet of locations where children often congregate. Amy Cherry takes a closer look.
One amendment, which underwent a first reading at a St. Johns County Commissioners meeting Tuesday, would prohibit a sex offender from being within so-called safety zones, which include public libraries, youth camps, and other similar facilities used by children. Resident Howard McGaffney suggested increasing the size of the safety zone.
Can we, and I would advocate, change the language from 300 feet to 1,000.
McGaffney also suggested expanding the scope of the so-called safety zones that would be off limits to sex offenders.
Parks, I think saying public and private clarifies CDDs versus HOAs and gives us that broad band. But under the parks, could we add the amenity centers on there? Because those are a large portion of HOAs and CDDs, and those are considered recreation. So I would just advocate to put something in there to just bolster it a little bit, make it more clear.
Commission Chair Christian Whitehurst agreed with the proposed amendments.
I'd like to include the amenity center. The amenity centers that I'm familiar with, it's one adult for every 5 children, and the 1,000-foot buffer. 1,000 feet seems a lot safer than 300 feet to me.
County Attorney David Miggott told the board that legal will vet the proposed amendments before the second reading of the ordinance, which is scheduled for their September 19th meeting. With St. Augustine's local morning news, I'm Amy Cherry.
This local news is a service of your hometown Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you.
Being aware of offenders and predators that are residing in your area or around the school. That's why we publish this information, is for public awareness for our citizens to keep them safe.
That's John Roddenberry with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement talking about a way to track sex offenders who move into your neighborhood. Liz Ryan has details.
If you have a child in your life that you care about, you'll want to take note of this website and bookmark it. FloridaOffenderAlert.com. On the homepage, you enter your email address and create a password to set up a new account. Then, as John explains, there are 2 ways to be alerted when a sexual predator moves into your neighborhood.
First way is you can go in and set up your home address, or you can set up like a work address or a school address to receive notifications when offenders move into the area. You can customize that to set up alerts whenever an offender moves within anywhere from a 1/4 mile to a 5-mile radius of a specific address.
If there's a particular offender you want to keep an eye on, there's a way to do that too.
You can actually go in and track specific offenders and predators. So if you're wanting to track a specific offender or predator, you can go in and track their movement. So if they're changing addresses, moving from an address to address, it'll actually send you an email notification each time they change addresses.
I asked about the safety of logging on and creating an account to track convicted offenders. Can you do so anonymously?
Oh, absolutely.
Currently, there's approximately 258 convicted sex offenders in St. Johns County. For St. Augustine's Local Morning News, I'm Liz Ryan.
To stop or not to stop? That is the question.
Yes, you do have to stop at West Castillo Drive heading south on US 1.
That's Hampton Ray, Community Outreach Manager for the Florida Department of Transportation. So it seems there's some confusion about whether drivers heading south at West Castillo Drive in St. Augustine are supposed to stop at the traffic signal. Hampton says in a perfect world he realizes there wouldn't be a question and adds those bright orange construction barrels are there for a reason.
We understand that drivers sometimes may not pay attention or they may be distracted and potentially use both of those lanes there, even though there are those orange barrels throughout construction.
Hampton isn't heartless about the traffic situation.
We do understand how during the temporary construction configuration, it can be a challenge for drivers.
You can breathe a sigh of relief. The construction obstacle course will be gone in about 3 weeks. For St. Augustine's Local Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
And now you're up to date with St. Augustine's Local Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.